Come join me. I'm getting ready to go on a date with hubby and some friends. So come join me. All right, so we're going to talk about I'm not so good at multitasking. Where's my primer? Here it is. So we're going to talk about sex in marriage, especially when you're not a good place. You're not at a good place in marriage. How do you overcome those emotions as a wife to be, sexually free and open with your husband in the event that, you're not liking him that much? You don't want to do it. I like this brush. How do you overcome that? Because I feel like I've been through it where it was literally a mental block. Having sex when you feel so disconnected. Like, how do you do that? Because the men need the sex. Do they deserve it? That's another question. But if we're godly wives, I'm understanding that we can't think like we did when we were in the world. We kind of have to approach everything from a biblical standpoint. Like, what would God want me to do? Biblical marriages and biblical wives and biblical sex, everything is so selfless. It should be focused on serving the other person, making sure that they're not necessarily happy, because we're not responsible for someone else's happiness. But we have responsibilities, especially as wives, because I know for the men, it's not an issue. They could be mad at you, like so mad. The sex is still happening. There's no issues there. So it's just, and that's the thing that we as wives, we have to get to that point to understand like the power that we hold, not a power in the sense that you're using it against someone, or you know but you're using it to build, you're using it to connect. Like, whenever you're in that place where you're so unsure, you know you don't want to be with him anymore, you don't want to put out the effort. Sex it's God-given and it's spiritual, and just forcing yourself, because he probably won't force you. My husband, he's not gonna. And I know a lot of men, what they do is just that they just don't ask, they don't even bother. So it's up to us wives. I think the Bible asked us to let men lead, or let the husband lead, because naturally, even though they have the characteristics to lead, like they're more like, they're not as emotional as we are, they're more logic based. So when it comes on to a decision, they can go right to making the decisions, and not be too emotionally tied into it. So I get why they should be the leaders, but most men naturally aren't leaders. It's either their mother or a professor or their girlfriend or their wife that pushes them into that position, that encourages them. They're very little men that are just so confident in themselves that they don't need the help to walk into that leadership position. So as it relates to sex, a lot of men want us as a wife. I know my husband does. Like, he wants me to initiate. He wants me to take the reign. And I'm like, if you're leading, you better lead during sex. But you know what? I realized too, if I initiate, or if it's the one place where I can be in control and feel good about it. So I feel like in the bedroom or during sex is the one place that women, if they want or if the man wants that, even though I don't like it. I don't want to do it, but when I do it, when I take control, when I initiate, when I'm the one that starts it and I kind of lead in the way that makes me feel good, then I enjoy it more. I don't know why. I can't even, I like to logically explain stuff, but I can't explain that to y'all. A lot of things that the Bible that's biblical and godly, um, it's not explainable because it's just selfless. It's like when you're thinking about someone else, you're doing something for someone else, it's like you get rewarded in return. And so I find that how I got to overcome that wall in marriage or in my marriage, because I'm here and I'm trying to teach you guys, not because I'm perfect, but because I've been through it. I've been to the point where I didn't want to be married. I didn't want him to touch me. I didn't enjoy sex. I didn't enjoy anything. Like, just leave me alone, man. But when I decided, it wasn't just him, I was playing a role too in the demise of my marriage. My husband, it's kind of obvious his little flaws. It's just little things like his driving would drive me insane, right? Which is crazy. Why does that bother us so much? Little things. He's not washing the dishes properly. He's not putting away stuff in the right places. Little simple things that are fixable. But it gets on our nerves to the point where we just lose that emotional connection and we forget about the love that we have, the love that we're supposed to be sharing. And we just have to get back. I know I had to get back to the point where I had to really think about what mattered. I had to really think about what was going on with my husband. What was I doing? What kind of part was I playing? Is he really a good man? Does he really deserve for me to try? Is he really trying? Even though it's not what I may want or the level that I may want it to be. But is this a good man that I married? And every time, like one time I pulled out pen and paper and I'm like, pros and cons. The cons were so silly, I didn't even want to put them on paper. I was embarrassed that I was nitpicking and, you know, there was no cheating, there was no infidelity, there was no abuse, maybe some emotional abuse, but it was both ways. Because, baby, if you can say things, I'm gonna come back. My words are killer. Okay? So I'm not gonna pretend like he's emotional abusive and I'm just this poor little thing over here. We were both like, and he would start it, but I'm gonna finish it. But God was like, girl, it can't work. It can't work. I don't know if this is showing in the video, like it's so yellow in here, but it's really not. It's more orange, and I don't know if I could ride and whistle. But anyways, back to the sex, right? So I was trying everything to figure out how do we get back to that the sexual connection. I didn't want to just be turn my back and be like, have your way, do your thing, you know? He he wasn't gonna refuse it, but he wasn't enjoying it if I wasn't enjoying it. Like he had this physical need to have sex, but he needed the emotional. He felt like he wasn't man enough, like he wasn't able to please me. And I felt so bad because my husband he didn't deserve it. But there was this it was like a literal wall between us when it came on to sex. Um, so I was developing outside of the bedroom, right? I was learning about submission, learning how to apply biblical principles, how to be a better wife. Because in me being a good wife, I was teaching him how to be a good husband. He yearned, he wanted to please me, he wanted to love me more. But there's this one area. My husband loves sex. I don't know. It probably is every husband, every man, but that's his love language. You can't tell him you love him and then when it comes on to the sex it's just bah. It's just he's like it will put him in literal depression. So no matter how much I would tell him, I'm in a better place and we're doing so good. And he loved everything. He loved how guys, I'm trying to tell y'all how powerful the biblical principles are. But the last piece of the puzzle was the sex. And what I had to do is know that if I took control, if I started to initiate, he asked me to initiate. He's like, I think you're better at it. I think you know what to do and blah blah blah. And I was so resistant. I'm like, I don't want to initiate. If you're gonna lead, you need to be leading in the bedroom. That was so horrible. But and then I don't know, the Holy Spirit, I think it was the Holy Spirit because it surely wasn't me. Just basically said like, what are you gonna lose? What do you have to lose? So I started and I would pray my way. Literally, guys. Is there a chat? Welcome to live chat. Cause I don't know if y'all are chatting, but I'm not seeing it. But so I would pray like I'm not praying anything. Maybe I would start out with like, Lord, just help me to connect with him. And he doesn't know this. This is while we're getting into. And I'm praying, Jesus, please help me to be connected with my husband. Please help me to just feel that because he can feel when I'm not connected. He can feel, he senses when I'm not into it. And the Holy Spirit was like, if you initiate, if you take the lead, you're always going to feel satisfied. You're always going to feel fulfilled. You're always going to feel connected. And I noticed that. So I'm like, I'm going to give it a try. And I'm just like, Jesus. Mind you, before we were so in tune, like sexually, there was no issue. So I know it was just a mental block from everything we were going through. And I was like, Jesus, Jesus, Jesus. It's so funny because this man did nothing to me. And there I was, had this big old, not to say he did nothing. We were going through it. I have stories for days. But it was like, why am I so disconnected? Why is it so hard to want to please my man? He treats me so well, especially now that I'm so respectful and I'm doing all the things. He really just he tries his best to reciprocate and to make me feel like and he's helping with the kids and he's doing all these things, right? So why am I still not it's just a process. It's just a process and you have to figure out like what does he need? Is he able to if I give him control sexually? Is he able to if I allow him I missed this one. If I allow him, is he able to fulfill me sexually? And if the answer is yes, then what is the problem? Is there a mental block like there was for me? What can you do? Because your husband probably told you, like, hinted at what the issue is or how to fix it. They're more in tune sexually. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not thinking about sex. I could go months and not be, and I'm okay. I love my husband. I feel good about him. And sex is just not on my mind. I have all these things. My makeup looks crazy on the screen, but it's the lighting, guys. I could go months and months without the sex. But he just cannot, the boy can't hang. If we have sex 3 times a week, he feels like we could do better, babe. We could do better. We could go. And that's the thing with me. I feel like I need to miss it. I need him to not want it so much. How some ways we can show respect to our men as wives. Girl, first way is give him the sex. The best way for your man to feel respected is to have, regular sexual interactions with you. Because no matter how much you tell him you love him and you respect him and all that, I'm following my smile lines, guys. If you're not connecting, if you don't, you still, every time he wants the sex, you say no, he's not convinced. He doesn't think you love him. So, hi, Abby, I'm on live. So that's number one. Number two is how you talk to him. The biggest thing about a man, and people like to say both men and women need love and respect, but the thing is, it's still love. It's like talking to him lovingly, but it's how he processes it. So I could be this doing the same thing to him. So I'm talking to him very meek and mild and gentle, calm. I'm not raising my voice, especially in public. I'm not arguing with him. I agree. And if I don't agree, I'd say something like, okay, babe, we can talk about it later or whatever. Just I'm respectful in terms of how I'm communicating. Think about how you communicate with your boss, or just someone you respect, outside, maybe in the church, a leader. Just think about that. All right. I'm doing the same thing. He's doing the same thing. Talking to me respectably or respectfully. And but what I'm processing it as is, oh, this man loves me so much. Look here, look at the way or hear the way he talks to me. And he's processing that as, my wife respects me so much. She talks to me like so calm. She never raises her voice. It's the same kind of action, but we're just processing it different. So that's why we say men need to feel respected and women need to feel loved. So these are general things. The way you communicate with him is gonna be universal. You have to talk to him respectfully. You can ask him like what that looks like, babe, do you have a problem when I say things like so and so, or if you're talking and I interrupt you, or you could just look and see, observe, what are some things that you think he has an issue with, and but you have to start observing, and he's gonna tell you. Sometimes they tell us and you just think, oh, you're complaining about nothing, but it's just what he likes and his preferences. And we kind of have to do that just the way we're expecting him to do, because he needs to be doing those things for you as well. But you're teaching him. A lot of times we don't realize that we model the behavior that we want. So if he's not treating you the way you want him to treat you, start treating him that way. There's no way you're going to be so respectful and so nice and loving to your husband and he's just this, unless he has mental issues, But generally speaking, if you're nice and you're gentle and you're calm, your man is going to be nice, gentle, and calm. You're not going to be there calm and gentle and having a conversation and he's just yelling. The yelling is, you can't, it takes two to yell, it takes two to argue. It takes, you know what I mean? So the same behavior that you want from him, a lot of times us wives, not just wives, husbands do it too, but I'm talking to wives. So don't think I'm not um giving them accountability for their actions. I know it goes both ways. But because I believe that one person, one of us can be the change, one of us can make the difference. It doesn't take both parties, because think about it. If we're both at odds, right? He's not doing the right thing, I'm not doing the right thing. And I'm over here saying he's not doing the right thing. He's over here saying she's not doing the right thing. Can you resolve it that way? There's no resolution. The only way I'm going to encourage you to do that is if you don't want your marriage to get better. So when I come on here and I tell you, do these things, don't do these things, it's not because you're to blame or you're the bad apple or you're the one that's the problem. It's because it just takes one person. It takes one of you to do the right thing. And the other is just automatic. Y'all don't understand how your environment can actually influence you. Your friends, the way your friends talk, the things they believe in. If you hang out with them long enough, you're going to start believing the same things. You're going to start acting the same way. Look at any friends group, two or more people, and see how they talk the same, they dress the same, they like the same things. It's just natural. So if one of you start doing the right thing, talking to the other respectfully, treating the other with respect, being selfless. Hi, my dear. And just looking out for the other person's feelings, doing things that we think, like sacrificing self. So say for instance, today I want to eat Popeyes, and you're outside, you're on the road, and hubby is at home, right? You know he loves KFC. And you're like, I'd really want Popeyes, but I'm going to go get some KFC because I want hubby to feel good. It's going to make him feel so good. He's going to be, right? And you bring it home and he's going to be like, "Ooh, babe, you really thought about me?" Like, and it gives him the good feels. And the next time he's out, he's like, "I want to do that for wife. I want to." And it's not going to be overnight. You may do it today and it takes him 6 months to realize, "Oh, wifey been doing this. I must start doing that too." Because the men can be slow. If you're a guy, don't. Hi, Natalia. I saw your email. But yeah, the men can be slow, but they will pick up. My husband, it didn't take him long to figure it out. It did not take him long at all. But you just have to trust God and trust him and trust that the man you fell in love with is still in there somewhere. I promise you he's in there, especially if he loves God and he fears God. It's gonna connect. It's gonna connect. Just by you making me slow. Wait. Are you a guy? Naima. Sometimes just be honest. Be really for real. The men, when compared to women, they're a little bit slower, generally speaking. Not all of them, but generally speaking. My husband can hear me, y'all, so he knows this. I can be slow. I'm slow. I make mistakes too, but not as often as he does. But we just kind of, we're in the place where we're acknowledging when we do things wrong. I think that's so big, like taking accountability for your actions and acknowledging. Sorry, maybe you're one of the exceptions. It's not everyone. Everything we say is, there's no generalizing, you know? Not saying there's no generalizing. We can generalize, but there are always exceptions, okay? We're talking on average how the men are. I don't know what this looks like, but I'm confident it will come together for my good. But yeah. So I hope I answered the question. Thank you. These are great tips, especially within the Christian. Yes. I feel like the Bible gives us everything that we need, but sometimes we just take it for granted. Like, I feel like sometimes we as Christians, we think the instructions in the Bible is for the unsaved people. Like, I'm already saved, I'm already holy, I already know how to treat my husband. And so we neglect the teachings of the word. And literally, we're out here struggling, and everything we need, God has given it to us. Because when the Bible says, a calm answer turneth away wrath, it really, really does. If you're in a situation and someone comes up and, say your husband, since we're doing the hubby marriage thing, he comes up and he's like, no, 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 no. Why'd you do this? Why'd you do that? I don't like it. And you're just like, oh, my bad, babe. I didn't even. Oh, hubby said there was an example today when we agreed that we wouldn't cut the baby's hair. He's a boy. Because we wanted it to grow out a little bit. And I went to the hair salon to get my hair straightened for the first time. And the lady was just like, he was kind of restless because I'm trying to not give them videos and stuff, no electronics. So he was just running around kind of restless. And the one lady that was in there, she wasn't doing anything. And she was like, do you mind if I give him a haircut? And I didn't even think about it. I was like, yeah, that's fine. Right as soon as I said that, I'm like, oh crap. But it was kind of too late, and I'm just like, in my head, I was just like, it's whatever. So I come home, and of course, hubby is like, I thought we said we weren't gonna, he was real calm. He's really learning and growing, guys, trust me. He was real calm, and he was like, I thought, we agreed not to cut the baby's hair. But in past situations, I would be the one that was like, I don't see nothing wrong with that. Like, I don't see the big deal. Like, why are we making it into a big deal? That would be my past response. But today, I was just like, you know what? I don't know. I was in the moment. I didn't really think about it. And I'm sorry. But you're right. And it ended there. I didn't have to hear his mouth. I didn't have to hear. It was just done. So a soft answer? I always forget. It's a soft answer turneth away wrath. So, what do you do if you feel unloved? If your husband caused trust issues, feeling lost at present, like an evil spirit hanging over me? Listen, you gotta pray that thing away. Pray, pray, pray. Pray and love. The best thing you can do is love him into submission. Love him into the person that he needs to be. If we got up, even saying there are trust issues, right? He's already your spouse. I don't know. I'm guessing he hasn't cheated or anything yet, just based on the email you sent. So I'm gonna say he hasn't cheated yet, but your concerns seem to me to be valid. So what I would do is just, it's gonna be hard. It's not like these things are easy to do. You're just gonna, oh, let me just go do this. No, it's gonna take a little bit of effort, but I want you to forget about it. Try not to think about it. At first, it's gonna seem impossible. It's gonna seem hard, forgetting about it and not thinking about the trust issues and not, but just keep your mind on Christ. Every time it veers into the trust and he's doing this and he's done that, and Christ, I love you, Lord. Thank you. I thank you for helping me in this moment. Or you could just say, help me, Lord. Help me to get these thoughts out of my head. Help me. And you just not pray for yourself. Pray for you to change and your thoughts to change and your mind to shift. Because honestly, sometimes we have the radar, and yeah, we do have reason to have those trust issues, but sometimes we don't. Satan is real, and he is the enemy, true enemy of marriages. He's gonna plant seeds. Once you're married, there's no, oh, there are red flags and he's doing the, no. We're gonna hope for the best. We're gonna think the best. We're thinking positively. We're not going into the, if you go into the negative, if you go into the glass is always half empty, that's what you're gonna, that's the life you're gonna live. There's nothing good is in that negative space. But always try to think positive. I know my husband loves me. I know there's a reason I married him. There's a reason he married me. He wouldn't be with me this long if he didn't. These are not things I would advise if you're not married. If you're not married and they're the red flags, obviously you don't want to get married. But once you're married, until he gives you concrete, like you have evidence, they come and they tell you, and even then it's up to you to decide, because as I said, the enemy is out to get us. If our marriages fail, if all our marriages fail, the church fails, the family fails, society fails. You have to realize that your marriage is under attack. It's not your husband. This is why we have this mental block sometimes. Like, you can't understand it. Like, he's not even doing anything wrong. I don't know why I feel this way. I don't know why I'm so angry. I don't know. We're not fighting against flesh and blood, guys. It's a spiritual warfare, and the enemy is coming. He's coming hard. So don't think because you're saved. But the thing is, God gave us everything we need. It's just hard because it's fleshly, it's selfish. The issues that we're going through, it all lies within our flesh and our selfish desires and our needs. I need this. I'm not happy. I don't feel fulfilled. I don't. If you ever stop and you start to think, is he happy? How can I make him happy? What can I do to make our marriage better? What can I do in this moment, today, in this argument? What can I do to turn away his wrath? Guys, it works. It works. I didn't even believe it. I can't tell you how miraculous our turnaround was, but it works. And I'm here to tell you, God told me to tell you, because I didn't want to come on here and tell anybody anything about their marriage. Like, y'all could figure. I'm kidding, but it's not something that I really wanted to do. But God told me to help wives. A lot of people take my talking to just wives as I'm trying to blame us, or I'm trying. No, what I recognize is that we are full of power. The Bible has so many instances where it's trying to show us as women that you are powerful, but it's not in the masculine way that we want to be powerful, that society tells us we need to be powerful. No. Remember that time when Esther went up to the king? Did she go up and was she like, King, I'm here and I'm just as powerful as you are. I'm just as No. She was beautiful. He saw her in her feminine, her beauty, and he was like, whatever you want, just name it, I'll give it to you. She didn't say nothing. She said he just saw her and he had favor on her because of her demeanor. She was soft and gentle and beautiful. Everyone found favor in her. She didn't have to open her mouth. She didn't have to prove anything to the king. He just found favor looking on her. And he's like, whatever you want, I'll do it. That's the power you have. The Bible tells us in 1 Peter 3 that you have the power to bring your husband to Christ, to save him without uttering a word, just by living your pure and reverent life. And it says again that a soft, meek, and gentle spirit in a wife. We get favor from the Lord just by being gentle and soft and meek. That's being your feminine self. That's walking in your femininity. But we're out here trying to compete with the men and we're exhausted. We're unhappy. We're trying to get fulfilled in all the wrong ways. But I just want to encourage y'all, because I'm telling y'all right now, I'm like, hubby, do this, do that. Da, da, da. He can tell me, no, I'd rather if you do this, like with the sex thing. That's my little, I'm not going to tell him because I haven't told him my my strategy, but it works, right? So, but just let him lead, let him take on the responsibilities, let him do his thing. Let's not get caught up in who's right, who's wrong, always trying to prove ourselves, always. Girl, just be a girl. Just be a lady. Just be dainty. Just be. There's so much reward in that. So much reward. And the thing is, it doesn't take long. People have been messaging me asking for help, and I tell them what to do. And they're like, too easy. Not easy mentally. They know it's hard for them. But the good thing with the ladies that reach out is that their willingness, like they want their marriage to work, like they're yearning for repair. So they're just so open to learning and to understanding. And I say, they tell me what's going on and I tell them. And some of them, it's almost immediate. And they can't believe it. I can't believe it. I'm like, God is good, because it's not me. It's straight out of the Bible. Straight out of the Bible. And let me give y'all a good example, you wives, because I had a friend of mine call me and she's like, she was so hot and, just ready to blow. And she's like, hear what this man did. This is what he did. And I can't believe he did this. And I said, okay, tell me what happened. So her man comes in. I can't find what I need. So her man comes in, right? And he's like, babe, your nails look like they need to get done. So go get your nails done on me. And she's like, my nails? I need my hair done. And she's like, he got upset and you was saying how I was so negative and whatever. And I'm like, you were negative. And she said, but I didn't say nothing. I just wanted him to know how I felt. And that's how I really felt. I wanted my hair to get done. And I said, it's not what you said. You said nothing wrong. It's what you didn't say. Your man comes in and he notices such a small detail without you having to say anything, like your nails, because she's always does her nails, but they weren't done. It's not like they were raggedy, they just weren't done. So he was like, oh, go get your nails done. He's trying to do something nice. And instead of saying, thanks, babe, that's so sweet, I can't believe you even noticed. The man was saying you're negative because you never stopped to say thank you. You never stopped to acknowledge what he was trying to do for you. And she came at me so strong, right? And then she calmed right down because she was like, oh, I get that. I see what you mean. And I'm like, if you had just stopped to say, babe, that's so sweet, but I'm trying to grow my nails out, because that's what she said, why they weren't done. I'm trying to grow my nails out, but I'd love if I could go get my hair done instead. He's like, of course, no problem. What is he gonna say? But you came on so strong. Just it's the communication. Like, all you had to do was tell him what was going on, acknowledge his efforts, and it would have been a whole different conversation. But y'all don't want to listen to me. Y'all think I'm throwing blame and I'm doing this, but we're defensive. Us as women, we're defensive. I was there. We don't know how to talk to our men correctly. We don't know how to talk respectfully. How do you manage? Yeah. It's my pleasure. How do you manage finances as a Christian couple, especially if the wife has a high-paying job but does not want to compete with the husband? I think your advice would be valued as you are an attorney.
Yeah, to go carry them we need for leave.
Kara who?
Them people there.
Oh, no, I'm gonna jump off. Mega, I'm gonna be done in a second. Where am my stuff? You can bring my backpack, please. It's in the closet. It has my. Am I missing anything? I need my mascara. But finances. So this is finances. I don't think it's general. Like, I can't give general advice. It really depends. What time is it, babe? Oh, to 8. I was hoping to be ready by 8.
Me for leave now.
Okay, I'm coming. I'm gonna see my spray. I'm gonna see nothing. Where did I leave these things? But finances needs to be a conversation with your hubby. Y'all need to figure out, because it really doesn't matter. In my opinion, what I think is that there should be one pot. The 50-50 really causes resentment. If everyone's putting everything in here and everything is going to your budgeting, so you have a budget for vacations, bills, miscellaneous things that come up here. You have a budget, but everyone has access to the pot. And you pay the bills, you do all the important things, you save. And then I get a budget, he gets a budget. Everything is equal. I feel like that's the best way to do it, especially where the wife is making more, because it's hard for you to respect a man when you're making more than him. Like, you feel like you should have more say in what the money is, what's going on, but let him lead. Don't give him any kind of inclination that you feel like you should have more of a say because you earn more. When the Bible says submit to your husband in everything, you hear me? everything. That includes finances. There's no conditions. It doesn't matter who earns more or whatever. If that man did not earn a dime, if he was a stay-at-home dad, give him equal access. Everything goes in a pot, because you know what? The tables could turn any day. The tables could turn and you just never know. So, I would say just put it in a pot, one pot, and we're doing everything as one. Everything as one. There's no separation, and there's no room for people to be, I don't know where my, what you call it, mascara and my stuff is. I'll check my office. So I hope that helped. And I love you guys, but we're going out on a date and I'm very late because I needed to talk to my tribe. I'm getting to know y'all, and y'all are getting to know me. I'm trying to be more. Guys, I can't find my stuff. But I love you. Email me or reach out to me. Y'all could reach out to me on Instagram or what's that thing called? TikTok. It's the same handle, Holy Wifey Academy. If you have any questions, men, women, wives, husbands, I have advice for anyone that needs it, but I feel more comfortable talking to wives. I just don't think it's my place to talk to men. In general, I sometimes I'll give you a little, especially if someone asks for it. But if you want the advice, reach out and I'll give it. But I don't feel comfortable making videos directed at men because I don't want to make my husband uncomfortable. But I love you guys and I'll see you maybe tomorrow. Bye.